and thanks for joining us. I'm Valerie Bell. Breaking news at this hour on Spectrum News 1. First responders in Auburn say they have recovered a body.
Would you be good at rugby?
What kind of question is that? Of course I'd be good at rugby. Just run around, tackle some people, right?
It ain't that simple.
A new study finds delirium is a frequent symptom among older adults who test positive for COVID-19. Believe it or not, we're less than 10 months away from the first pitch at Polar Park in the inaugural season of the Worcester Red Sox. I don't believe it. The state reported an increase of 320 new cases of COVID-19. Patriots fans may want to block their ears for this one. Gillette Stadium is being ranked one of the worst football stadiums in the NFL.
It's hockey season start. I'm ready for it.
Well,
Worcester police arrest a Webster woman after a fight on Cambridge Street, which sent another woman to the hospital. If your sweet tooth craves breakfast, Cinnabon has a new line of products for you. I'm definitely going to try them. Now on Spectrum News 1, Governor Charlie Baker's administration released the full schedule for the vaccination rollout, when you can expect to get a shot. As schools get ready to transition back to the classroom, one Central Mass school district hosts a vaccine clinic for teachers and staff. Concerns are being raised over a new coronavirus variant making its way to the United States. What medical experts are saying about the strain and why you should stay vigilant. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for your midday here on Spectrum News 1. I'm Valerie Bell. It's a sunny and cool day here in central Massachusetts. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. This is a look at the Mass Central Rail Trail in Rutland. Let's get a first check of the forecast now in Weather on the Ones. Governor Charlie Baker's administration announces a timeline for when remaining Massachusetts residents will become eligible to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Residents over the age of 60 and workers in certain industries, including restaurants, transit, and funeral homes, will become eligible to book appointments this Monday. Then on April 5th, residents over the age of 55 and people with at least one qualifying medical condition are eligible for the vaccine. And on April 19th, the state will expand eligibility to all residents over the age of 16. However, state leaders warn that once eligible, it still may take weeks for all residents to secure an appointment due to high demand. As students and teachers get ready to transition back to the classroom, concerns are being raised over the effects of COVID-19 on school budgets. In a virtual press meeting Tuesday, school committee members addressed how last year's enrollment numbers are being used to determine education funding for the 2022 budget. The state's 400 school districts saw an enrollment drop of more than 30,000 students, and many are expected to return next year, requiring additional resources. Education Secretary James Pizer says districts are still receiving the same base level of funding and federal relief will also be available. One of the questions about the COVID-19 vaccines we don't quite have an answer to yet is whether or not they work for children. Alicia Palumbo explains how Moderna is now working to find out. More Americans are rolling up their sleeves for COVID-19 shots. All 50 states have at least 10% of their respective adult populations fully vaccinated, according to the CDC. As of Tuesday, close to 111 million doses of the vaccine were administered across the U.S. That's nearly 80% of the delivered doses. The CDC also says roughly 72 million people have had at least one dose. The mayor of Chicopee is speaking up after a neighboring city receives approval for a new vaccine clinic. In his daily coronavirus updates, Mayor John View noted Springfield would be having a small neighborhood clinic to administer doses. Chicopee has plans for a regional vaccination site at the Castle of Knights and is still awaiting approval from the state. View was told Springfield received the doses because it's an underserved, at-risk community, but the mayor says Chicopee is also at risk. The state says a vaccine site in Chicopee is still under consideration. There are concerns about new variants of coronavirus making their way to the United States. Spectrum News 1 spoke with Worcester's medical director, Dr. Michael Hirsch, about the strains and why residents should be vigilant.
We can't stop now. We can't stop with these 3 W's. It's not safe yet.
Wear a mask, wash your hands, and watch your distance. It's the message Worcester's medical director, Dr. Michael Hirsch, is urging people to follow after the Department of Public Health confirms the first case of the Brazilian COVID-19 variant in Massachusetts. The state also has over 200 cases of the highly contagious UK variant and 6 cases of the South African variant.
The virus wants to survive. So it mutates in order to make itself more survivable.
The UK variant doubles in prevalence almost every 8 to 10 days. And Hirsch says by mid-April, it may be the dominant strain. But there are also other variants which could be of concern.
There's a strain from Brazil. There's a strain from South Africa. So far, very, very low penetrance here in the Commonwealth, at least from what we know.
Hirsch says the vaccine has shown to be effective against at least the UK variant, but not enough information is known about these variants. That is why he says it's important to be vigilant.
That's been the lesson that the UK went through. They had opened up and then the strain took over and they had to close back down, and that's what happened in Italy. I fear that that's where we're headed here.
More relief is likely coming to Massachusetts residents and businesses impacted by the pandemic. The state Senate is expected to vote on a bill Thursday that gives tax benefits to low-income workers and small businesses that receive PPP loans. It also proposes emergency paid sick leave for employees with absences related to COVID-19. The bill passed the House last week, but Senate leaders made provisions which allow the first $10,200 in unemployment compensation to be deducted. The bill's $50 million cap on tax relief has also been removed, now costing an estimated $126 million to the state. We're following developing news out of Atlanta, where at least 8 people are dead and 2 injured after shootings in the greater Atlanta area. The shootings happened Tuesday at spas in the area, and now a 21-year-old man is in custody connected to the violence. Late this morning, police saying he claims the motive is an addiction to sex. Holly Purfer has the details. Coming up, it's the one day of the year everyone says they're Irish. How a few music groups are making sure you can still celebrate safely this year. Plus, one Worcester city councilor is urging her peers to stand with striking nurses. After the break, the actions taken in council chambers.